Thank you for coming back, returning to these videos, and by sharing these videos, you help to get the word out that DoD civilians at Shaw Air Force Base really do need help. It means that you're helping to right a wrong of inhumane treatment. In video 2, I gave you some background to demonstrate my credibility as a whistleblower, as a witness, as a complainant. But let me also add to that is that I'm a recent graduate of the Congressman James Clyburn Fellows Program. I've been a participant with the Toastmasters International. So putting us back on track, I'd like to also remind you, in the previous video, I spoke of the Amherst study that was conducted. Now, out of 683,419 cases, 93% of those cases, there was no form of legal redress, not negotiated or mandated changes in the workplace. This in itself speaks volumes regarding the level of acceptable behavior against employees that dare to complain. That dare to complain to the EEO, EEOC. Only 7% make a difference. The other 93% get some form of retaliatory behavior and termination, most of them. So one has to wonder that if this falls in line with being descriptive of a coercive or intimidation tool that is standard operating procedure for use across the board. Where exactly does your due process, your civil and constitutional rights begin? Now, the very last video, we were into reasonable accommodations. So what I'd like to add with that is I spoke about a couple of the defendants and the fact that my requests were denied 6 times over, regardless of what happened, whether it was winding up in the ambulance, in the hospital, it doesn't matter. I was denied 6 times. So with that, I'd like to read a direct quote from an email between 2 of the defendants, the first line supervisor and a member of the human resource at Shaw. And I quote, "As for the movement of Mrs. Pemberton, would not have allowed management to follow its course to have Mrs. Pemberton removed from her position." So this means that regardless of law, rule, and regulation, they had a goal to meet. So it didn't matter. They were going to break every law they needed to break to accomplish the task, to meet that moment. So again, my situation is not an isolated event. What happens at Shaw is standard operating procedure. This is how they move. So it's not just me. They didn't just start creating a map with me. What the things that they've done were already being done to others, will already have been done. And until the employees get assistance, it'll continue. So again, my stepping up, somebody has to do it. It's about getting into good trouble, like the late Congressman John Lewis spoke about. So another question that comes out of that statement that they made, you asked, why would you place a person, an employee, on a PIP, performance improvement plan, if your goal, as stated, is to remove an employee. So what you're doing is trying to check off a box, but you have to make sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's, because you're still going to wind up falsifying information, falsifying documents. And there's a barrage of proof on this thing. So it makes me think. And I hope that it will make you think, just how far is management willing to go? What else have they done? Well, I'm going to give you a few examples that I know directly of, that I may have spoke with the persons involved directly. Okay, so let's start with something quick and easy. The Shaw supplement, the guidance on awards and recognition, lays out a plan for the different awards that are put out throughout the year, and it gives them X amount of hours off, time off, paid time off per award. Now, what happens is, since that's paid time off, there's a budget for those hours, money. Now, if the employees that win those different awards don't know about that, where's that money going that would have gone to covering those hours? So, I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying nobody's committing fraud. I'm just asking the question, because there's a monetary budget already established. So what happened to the money? Now, if you go back to slide 2, you'll see the number of different awards I won. I was never told about any funds, any time off that went with it. So don't get it confused. Your annual appraisal that you get time off from, that you may get time off from, that's not the same as your awards time off, because everybody doesn't get it. Now, there was an employee, a previous employee that I spoke with. The only reason I spoke with them is because I found out that employee had reported an incident of some fraudulent behavior, where real money was involved with people that held rank. Now, that employee was concerned about the fact that, of course, per their standard operating procedure, they were going to try to railroad them. So the employee was also trying to get another position so she could move away from where she was at, because everybody saw what was going on. But because she reported it, she became the target, and that's what happens at Shaw. If you complain or report something that they don't want reported, you become the target. So what I advised that person was, they received a job offer from someplace else. So I advised them, I gave them some advice, a choice. Hey, we already know what they're trying to do. Accept the other position that you want at another location. Don't tell them ahead of time that this is happening, but accept the other position. And once you accept the position and they've locked you in and everything, then you let them know that, hey, this is my last duty day here. And they did, and they went on to do great things. They're doing better in a healthy environment and everything. Now, here's another incident. We were in a contract negotiation. I was a part of the contract negotiation team on the labor side, right? And during that meeting, this is why I say that AFGE Local 1872 is not a union for the people. They don't protect the people. Management felt so comfortable that they talked about another employee in front of the people, in front of union officers, which I was not a union officer. I was just a member of the negotiation team. But they spoke in front of union officers and they didn't care. And what they said was, well, we're trying to get this employee to quit. We're trying to get her to quit. It wasn't me they were talking about because nothing had happened yet. But I did say, oh, I know who you're talking about because of some of the different things that we're saying. And I had prior knowledge of about the particular employee because I had spoke to the employee before in a friendly manner, not in a advising manner. But anyway, they felt comfortable to talk about her right there in that meeting. And the union people did nothing, said nothing. So now, also, again, in these same contract negotiation meetings, one thing your union contract cannot do is usurp law. But they were so confident and so complacent that they felt like they could. So they were going to do it. And regardless of any objection that I might have expressed in my position as a part of the contract negotiation team, I'm not a union officer. So my perspective didn't count. And although they had a lawyer there for management, it didn't matter. They still were moving to usurp state law. And the union side was going along with it. So in this video 5, it has to come in at least 3 sections because when you pose the question, how far will they go? It's a lot of content. And some of the things I like to share will take more than just one video. And I don't want videos to be too long. But again, let me state this. Allegations that I make throughout the course of my videos, all of these videos, my allegations specific to me, I have evidence of. If Shaw Air Force Base feels that any of the allegations that I'm making have no merit and are false, I challenge them to speak publicly about it. Not behind closed doors, but come speak publicly to it. Address these allegations, address the evidence. I'll see you in section 2 of part 5 video about how far they'll go.